So we're here today with Zarin Hainsworth Fadaei, and she's here from the UK to attend the CSW, the 54th session for the Commission on the Status of Women. And Zarin's wearing different hats at the CSW. She's representing the Baha'i International Community, but she's also the co-founder of Advance, which is an NGO that works with women in the areas of justice, education, entrepreneurship. She's also the trustee for Widows' Rights International and co-founder of International Coordination for Gender Justice in Iraq. Thank you for being with us, Zarin.
Pleasure.
And if you could just tell us why you're here and what you're trying to accomplish at the CSW.
Well, I've been coming to CSW since 2000. In fact, twice in 2000, because 2000 was also the +5 from Beijing, so twice then. And so I think every year the important thing about CSW is to be hugely inspired by the number of advocates for advancement for women and equality issues for girls and women from around the world. You know, it's just an amazing experience to meet so many people who have such tremendous examples of advocacy and activism, and they're doing such great things. So it's very inspiring, very enlightening, very educational. You can learn the kind of range of activities that are going on, and you can be incredibly motivated by meeting these other women from around the world, you know, all in their with their various languages and their various idiosyncrasies and their different garbs. You know, it's just incredible. For us from the UK, it's important to meet with the UK government delegation, because you get much closer to the government delegation when you're not in country. So this means that when you go back home, when we go back to the UK, we're able to work again with those same delegation. But having got closer to them here, because we're very lucky in the UK, because we have a meeting every morning where we get a report from the UK delegation, and then every evening we meet at the UK mission and we meet with our delegates, and it's fantastic. And I have to say, it's a brilliant example of how governments, states parties should work with their NGOs, because we have a very close collaborative relationship. We give them lots of information about the feeling at CSW, and they give us, you know, whatever they can in terms of where things are at with the different negotiations, and you know, how things are working out with the documents and so forth. And we're able to have an opportunity to input into the outcome documents when there are any, and the resolutions and so on. So it's a really great way to influence what the outcome is of CSW. So there's lots of reasons to be here. And it also means that we can share with other people what we've been doing in the UK and what our learning is. So this year the UK delegation, NGO delegation, had quite a number of events, and so we were able to share our experience with other people. The one from Northern Ireland was fantastic. It was really a great example of the work that the women have been involved in peace, or peace building in Northern Ireland, which could really, a lot of countries could learn from. They have a lot to offer. So there were a lot of events that we could bring. So it's for a whole range of reasons, really.
And how have your activities that you've done in the UK and around the world really contributed to your experience here, and in the way that you contribute to the CSW?
Well, I think one of the things that we were able to share this time is that we've been involved in what we call a discourse. And I think one of the interesting things about what the Baha'i contribution is to reframe some of our definitions. So one of the words might be a discourse, because what do we think about it? It's not an academic exercise. It's really a collaborative exchange of views. So there's a statement that it's a new statement. It's called Advancing Towards Equality of Women and Men. And it's looking at what does the Baha'i view on various situations. So it's looking at power relations, it's looking at economic structures, it's looking at what is human identity. And so in the UK we've had a number of meetings with women's organisations, you know, key people, women and men, who are involved in the work for women. And we've had Iraqis involved, academics, people who are working in development, gender experts, different people. And we've come together and we've together discussed this document, and we've looked at our learning and what's our response to the document. And this is our terminology of a discourse, that we're learning together and sharing together our learning as a result of looking at particular texts. And we've begun this process in the UK, and so we were able to share some of that, some of our learning from that here with colleagues both Baha'is from around the world and our, our sisters and a few brothers who are here, but a few chaps who are here at CSW. So the other interesting thing is that the learning we've had from that exchange has meant that it's also influenced the kind of language that we use. So, for example, one concept is that the equality of women and men is not just a good idea for a well-ordered society. It's not just a desirable outcome. It's a fundamental truth. And if we can understand that, and if we can share this concept and it becomes a more readily understood concept, it can be hugely influential because it changes your attitude towards equality. So when governments and when agencies are looking at how they allocate resources to work for women and girls, because it's not just a desired outcome together with many other desirable outcomes for a well-ordered society, it means they might allocate their resources more ambitiously when it comes to women and girls because it's a fundamental truth. That's one concept. And another concept that I find particularly interesting is the concept of power. Because, the word power is usually used to talk about a power over or power to manipulate, that kind of concept. And yet there are other ways to look at power. There's the power of thought, there's the power of intuition, there's the power of love, there's the power of unity, and these other ideas about power. And then there's also the idea of power as capacity. So if we can rethink our understanding of power, then even if you are in a situation where normally you might think of yourself as a victim, because you think of power as capacity, so you have the capacity to change your situation, your capacity to change your mindset, you have power over your situation because of changing your mindset. It means that no matter what situation you're in, you can change your view of it. By changing your view of it, you can change how you relate to it. By changing how you relate to it, you can make yourself no longer a victim. So those concepts are pretty fundamental and revolutionary. And we had a discussion today it was great. We were in a small room, just a few of us, and we had somebody from Malaysia, somebody from Colombia, somebody from Germany who works for a UK university but lives in the US. We have a Canadian who works in the US, somebody from India, two people from Nepal, and myself from the UK. And we had this incredibly enlightening debate, and you could see the commonalities that the women from all over the world are facing the same problems, and despite years of trying to make change, there's still very little move forward. There was a woman called Francesca from Ghana yesterday in a meeting, and she was saying, we earn pennies for which we're grateful. In other words, there are many advances. You look at the number of advances and it's great, more girl children go to school, there are a few more parliamentarians, whatever. And yet in comparison to the abuses against women and the disparity between the power in society that women and men have in terms of the amount of credit they have, the amount of money they have, the amount of property that they earn, the amount of power they have in decision making in terms of percentage places, in terms of parliamentarians, etc. There's so little gain since, say, the founding of the CSW, which is in 1946. And you think, why is that? Why are we still, despite all this energy and this goodwill from men and women to affect change, why are we still stuck? And what this document is looking at is it's because we need to redefine the constructs of the society in which we're engaged in. It's not good enough just to get women in existing space. We have to redefine the space and change the space. So those discussions are incredibly enlightening because it's a commonality for women the world over. It's the same problems, the same disadvantages, the same abuses, the same disparities, but the same desire to engage with men shoulder to shoulder to ensure that we have equality for all. Because of course we know that if we don't have equality for women, then men can't achieve the potential that could be theirs. So this idea that the true potential for humanity, which is to have a just and peaceful and prosperous world, can only be achieved when we have equality, and that's something towards which we're working. So we've been able to bring that kind of discussion to CSW or whatever table we're at, whichever forum we're in.